Welcome to episode 22 of The Leap Home, Another Mother.
In this week's episode, Sam must take on the role of a single mother in the early 80s and keep up with a back-breaking schedule without allowing her kids to come to harm. Matters are complicated when the youngest child sees through the illusion and refuses to accept Sam as her mother. But can he keep everything on track long enough to prevent the eldest child being kidnapped and murdered? Or will he show up too late to save the day?
I'll have you know, when I was...
The fact that you were a practicing pervert at the age of 5 has nothing to do with the rest of the world.
Good evening, Ian. How are you?
I'm not too bad, Gerry. How are you?
Still practicing?
Perversion.
Can't say it.
You've 40 years experience.
I should have nailed it by now.
Yeah, you'd have thought, nailed something.
Ooh. How are things?
Not too bad, not too bad. We've got an episode set in my lifetime.
For once.
Yes, first time.
Probably the first for me as well. But I think we'll agree. Anyway, before we go on, you embarrassed yourself last week.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we talked about guest appearance from Troy and Belisario.
I think we suggested that perhaps she was one of the party guests or one of the hotties in the college dorm.
I think the IMDb listing just says girl.
Yeah.
So yeah, we assumed. But no, she was obviously a child, as we find out this week. And not one of those people at all. She grew up to be one of those people in Pretty Little Liars.
Did she?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
You not watched that?
Nope.
Neither have I.
What did you think of this week's episode?
I thought it had all the hallmarks of studio interference.
Did you? I loved it.
It was good, but there was no reason for them to introduce this kidnap and murder plot. It's just completely like, oh, we need something that's more exciting. Let's get guys, for no reason, to drive hundreds of miles to abduct a kid and then drive away again and murder him.
When you say no reason, they're perverts.
Yeah, but they could pervert anywhere.
No, that's not what you do.
Not in your own hometown.
I'm led to believe, I think they do that. You go to another state, somewhere else.
But we didn't get any background on them, why they were there or what they were doing.
Well, what background do you want? They are sex killers.
I want some character work, to find out a bit more about them.
No.
What are their motivations?
No, we've got a whole cast that we devote to that.
It just felt like if this was season 1, the stuff with the bullies or the friends would be the main driving plot, whereas this had to have that sort of extra factor, which was fine. It was good. It worked okay.
I thought it worked very well. It had an E.T. feel to the episode as well. Obviously, the time and the setting.
The bike.
And the bike.
I think that
the creepy people.
The friends in this grew up to be the guys from last week.
Yes. Oh, they were... I mean, you say friends.
Well, yeah, I've got a note to come back to that, but yes, they're not friends of his.
No, they're arseholes.
Yeah. Well, I don't know why he's hanging about with them. Because they let him, I suppose.
Yeah. Oh, they were terrible people.
Absolutely. Did it feel... I was going to say, did it feel like the 80s? You've just said it feels a lot like the 80s.
Very much so. Although we did have a big 90s face in it. I don't know if you recognised him or not.
Which one?
Kevin.
Oh, yes, from Blossom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got notes on that. Before we get into the meat of this one, shall we talk about social media?
Let's do it rapidly.
Okay, as usual, you can get hold of us during the week on Twitter, Instagram, we're at Leap Home Podcast. On Facebook, we're at The Leap Home. Or our website, theleaphome.com, has show notes for each episode. You can also find us on YouTube at Columbo Podcast Productions, where we would encourage you to leave your comments and thoughts and subscribe and then hit that notification bell so you hear every episode 1 week before the rest of the plebs.
Your pussy is irritating me, Ian.
She's just wandering about. She's ingratiating herself.
Yeah. It's making a bad recording here. Tell her to pipe down.
She doesn't really listen to me, unfortunately. She's a cat. I think she'll go away shortly. Yeah.
Just for listeners' information, we're in a different setting from normal, I think, the last couple of weeks. So if you hear pussy noises in the background, it's Ian's.
If you remember them from Sledgecast, they were much younger then. It's the same cats. Anyhow, shall we talk about Quantum Leap?
Let's crack on.
This week's lesson is not a lesson at all.
No?
We've got Lance Legault narrating an introduction, which seems a bit more familiar, but not quite right.
It was brilliant. It was, obviously, did you recognise what it was playing on?
In terms of?
It was the A-Team.
Yes, of course, yeah. Sorry, I didn't understand the question.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yes.
And Lance Legault was in the A-Team as Decker.
Okay, so that's why they've got him initially. But
yes.
he's not the guy who's going to be doing it on a long-term basis.
No. He was also in How the Test Was Won, if you remember. Chance.
Yes, of course. He's the one that won Tess.
No, that was his daughter.
He was the father.
Yes.
We do see, before the credits, Sam leaping into this woman from the end of last week, and two of her kids are arguing over a shirt while a smaller child tugs at the dress, and Sam realises that he's a mommy.
Sorry, just to go back. In the voiceover, it talks about how Sam wishes that each leap will be his last one and his leap home, but...
He's not really expressed that, I don't think.
Exactly. He has never mentioned that.
Well, one time he mentioned he would like to go home.
Yeah, but you would think that would be a recurring... I mean, that would be...
Yeah, that would kind of be a driving factor. He doesn't spend every week going, oh, I wish I could go home. Maybe next time he's going home.
No. It's not like Dorothy.
They've just assumed that because they want him to come home.
Yeah.
I think if Sam got home, he would start leaping again.
It's one of those things, isn't it? Yeah, maybe he's like a rock star. He's always on the road.
Yeah.
And when he gets home, he can't settle down. He's got itchy feet, and he has to...
That's another question I've got. Does he age while he's leaping?
Good question. I mean, if you go back in time...
Yeah, well, the people he's becoming obviously are the age they are, but
yeah.
Does he age? Like, if he comes back from leaping in 20 years, will he be 20 years older than when he started leaping, and will he notice that passage of time?
Who knows? Maybe we'll find out. Maybe
and if he does a leap for a week, does he age a week, or does he age at a different rate?
Don't know.
Okay, why don't you know? Anyhow, we get a caption telling us it's September the 30th, 1981, so I have just turned 2 months old.
Have you?
At that point, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not much older. So we're in this kitchen, and after an exterior shot which shows a typical suburban neighbourhood, we return to the chaos of the kitchen with the older boy who's called Kevin,
yeah,
and his younger sister, Susan, pulling at a top that they both want. That's a weird one. He's a lot older.
Yeah, why would they have a top that even fits both of them?
Yeah.
It should be obvious, just look at the size, and is it a boy's shirt or a girl's shirt? And she says it's her friend's, doesn't she? She doesn't even say it's her own.
Yeah, I mean, maybe in the 80s things were a bit more unisex for a
But
while.
it's not a t-shirt, is it? It's a button-up.
It's like a blouse.
Yeah.
Maybe it's an Adam and the Ant type frilly number.
Maybe he's got his own style that we don't see in the episode.
As they do this, Sam sees in the mirror that he is a middle-aged woman and considers that he also fought with his siblings, but that his parents always seem to bring them under control. Now this is, again, we've seen it a few times, as a sort of slightly conservative message.
Well, he says his parents use a firm but kind word, but he doesn't have that capacity. He goes for the angry word.
Yeah, he snaps at them to shut up, which seems to take them aback before we have a dramatic revelation.
Well, the boy says that Mom has just reached max gross load before his sister tells him that he's a gross load.
Yeah. But what's the big reveal?
Well, the little girl realises that Sam is not her mother.
Yeah, this isn't Susan, this is Teresa, the toddler.
Yes.
Yeah, she says that the person in front of her is a man. Now, this was a bit of a WTF moment for me.
Yeah.
There have been other kids in the show, or there certainly would have been other kids in the environment. If Sam was walking down the street or in a cat, well, I suppose...
Yeah, but if they're not engaging with him, they've got no reason to think, well... Maybe, why would they not expect it to be Sam?
No, that's a point, because in other cases he's in the body of a man, so it wouldn't look odd or strange if you were just another man. But if it's a man in a dress and earrings,
yeah, there were certainly no kids in the episode when he was a woman before that I can recall.
No,
not in the restaurant. Not in the office.
Although at the start he got on a bus, but that would have been a commuter bus probably.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, but still.
But even then, a man could be going to the office dressed in a skirt. And it's really a bit weird.
Back in the 50s?
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a weird thing to do now, but in the 50s, yeah, it would have stood out, but a child maybe wouldn't have.
Yeah, we have to be honest here, it would still stand out today. I mean, you might think it's
what would happen? The child would say, why is that man wearing a dress? And the mother would say, it's not a man, shut up.
Yeah. No, I mean, for sure. If my 6-year-old sat in a bus beside a man who was wearing a dress and makeup, she would... I'm sure
That's what's wrong with him.
No,
because you've brought her up to.
I'm sure she would comment on it.
Yeah, or you'd be hoping that she didn't comment on it.
Oh yeah, but straight away be like, listen, you don't say a word. Wait till we go off the bus. Then you
that
can ask.
Man's in a dress.
Then we can ask questions.
Don't say that. Yeah. Well, kids have to learn these things.
They do, but not at the expense of the person we want to
you don't want to
humiliate
embarrass or yes.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. Anyhow, the littlest one, Teresa, hides behind her brother, then screams and runs off. So Sam sends Susan, who doesn't want to go, to have a word with her.
Yeah, this is, I suppose, understandable but odd. If your daughter runs away, you should be going to 10. You don't tell your...
Yeah.
You delegate that to another kid.
Kevin tells her sending Susan is like sending Jaws to get the kids out the pool.
But she eventually agrees, and we get a smart-ass quip from Kevin, as we heard at the top of the show.
He's got a bit of a lip on him.
Yeah, quite liked him. Kevin wasn't a...
He wasn't a bad kid.
He wasn't a bad kid. He sort of reminds me maybe of what I'd like to think I was like, you know, a bit cheeky, a bit of a smart ass, but, you know, the intentions weren't bad.
No, not cruel.
No, unlike his scummy pals.
Yeah. So anyway, he gets sent to school, but wants to eat breakfast first. And then they have a conversation about the mother's divorce.
Yes, that's when he finds out that, when Sam finds out that his husband, ran off with a bimbo.
Yes, and we then get a bunch of exposition about all the things Sam has to do that day.
Yeah, well, before that, Kevin tries, again, he's a good kid, he tries to lift her spirits.
Yeah, he says she's going to have she's got a real estate license, and he's sure she'll sell one of those tacky houses soon.
At this point, Susan returns with the news that Teresa has freaked out and is claiming Sam is a man in her clothes. But she's convinced her to have another look.
Yep, so Teresa comes back and says Sam is still a man, and the man behind him in the yucky shirt is also a man.
But she is in no way freaking out.
No, she's perfectly calm.
Yeah.
Al, who's the man behind Sam in the yucky shirt, complains about this characterisation of his outfit.
I like that.
I liked his felt hat. It was nice.
It was, yeah.
I would wear that.
Teresa runs off again, crying for her mommy, as Kevin remarks that it is definitely too much Sesame Street. I think he'd referred to that earlier on.
Yes, and when Sam responds to something Al says, Kevin takes it as affirmation of that point, which he's quite surprised to receive.
Yeah.
And Sam tries to send Susan again to talk to Teresa, but she says she's 11 and she won't have her psych degree for many years, and she's going to school.
Yeah, and at this point there's a horn. I'm not sure if it's the school bus or getting a lift from another parent.
And we get a reference to a bunch of things that Sam is meant to do this day, none of which appear to happen.
No.
When you watch the episode.
Yeah.
So carpool to Girl Scouts, soccer uniform fitting, and Kevin's swim meet.
The one thing that annoyed me about that was the soccer uniform fitting. Over the years, I have had...
You take one out the basket if you're at school.
Or, no, but even if your own, you just go to the local shop. It's like buying anything else. Buying a t-shirt and shorts. You go and you find the size that fits you, and that's what you get. You don't have a fitting for your...
No.
The fact it's called a uniform as well annoys me a little bit. It's a strip. It's not a uniform. I think in America they call these things uniforms, don't they?
Well, yeah, all sports gear uniforms.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, so Kevin says she can't go to this soccer fitting because he's got the swim meet and she has to be there. But he then leaves with Sam dealing with Teresa until Rafaela is set to arrive. I think she's the help. Yeah,
she's going to arrive at noon, and he reminds her about a house showing she has on that morning.
And rather inappropriately tells her to wear a dress, or tells him to wear a dress.
Why would she not wear a dress?
Yeah, and why would it be up to the son to tell the mother what to wear to her work?
Again, maybe he has got that sort of responsibility. Maybe there has been a bit of a breakdown, and
maybe
she would be expected to wear a dress, but she's been wearing jeans or whatever recently, and he's saying,
yeah. Maybe he thinks she'll feel better if she's dressed up.
Yeah. Alone now, Al tries to offer an explanation as to why Teresa can see them, and also what he has to do while he's there.
Hey, Sam. Ziggy says that kids under the age of 5 exist in a natural alpha state, and that's how come she could see me.
That's why she can see you. But how can she see me?
Animals and kids.
What did she
That's
say
great.
to Girl Scouts?
They're pure of heart. You know you can't lie to a kid. They see right through you. They see the real you. And little
Teresa.
Little Teresa, she sees only the truth. Problem is, the truth is her mother's gone.
What am I going to do, Al?
I guess you gotta tell her the truth.
Poor kid. Okay.
Where's my mom?
Your mommy, your mommy. Oh, your mommy had to go away for a little while, but she's gonna be back real soon.
Yeah. My name is Sam, and this is Al. And for the next couple of days, everybody's going to pretend that I'm your mommy.
That's good, Sam.
Thank you.
Did you not think that Teresa is going to be massively disturbed later in life?
Well, you would have thought so, but she seems to take it in her stride at this point.
That's why I said later in life.
Yeah.
So she's going to go through her entire...
Who was that man that came from?
Yeah,
There wasn't a man. Shut up.
So here's the thing then. When
But then her mum will know.
Yeah, her mum, that's what I'm saying. So her mum comes back. They'll have this sort of bond, this relationship, but it'll be really weird and creepy because no one else is going to believe it. This could really mess up her head for the rest of her
childhood, at least adolescence.
Yeah. And she tries to explain to someone, like she gets a partner, and trusts them and says, "You know what happened when I was a kid?"
My mum.
Like, yeah, you're weird. Beat it.
Yeah, but for now she likes the idea, and especially enjoys being able to jump through Al.
Yeah.
And he agrees to read her a story while Sam fixes the doll that Teresa's broken.
Yeah, and they promise her mum will be back in a couple of days after Kevin wins the swim meet. However, after she leaves to pick a book, Sam asks Al what the real mission is, and he gives him a less pleasing answer.
Indeed, apparently Kevin runs away from home at some point in the next 24 hours. He's never seen again, but his bloodied clothes are later found in a van.
Do we find that out right now?
Yeah.
Do we?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we do kind of clip away to seeing the van.
Yeah, it's a sinister shot with an ominous voiceover as we see a creep van pass over a state line, and we hear that, yeah, as you said, 6 months later, his bloodied clothes are found in this van. And,
we assume it's this van.
And it'd be odd if it wasn't.
It'd be really weird it's a different van, an ice cream van.
And his mother never allowed the case to be closed. I think that was it was nicely intriguing.
Indeed. So back at the house, Sam is freaking out about this schedule, and Al's trying to calm him down, and they talk about the reasons why Kevin might run away.
Yeah, did you notice he was dressed now in a blouse and skirt complete with earrings and a belt that it made him look a bit like a pirate?
Stylish. I've got photos of me dressed as a pirate in the 80s.
Have you?
Yeah, at a birthday party, I think. I would have been about 5, 4 maybe.
Okay.
I had a plastic parrot on my shoulder.
Yeah.
An eye patch.
Did you have a peg leg?
No, I had a blue and white striped shirt. My brother was made to dress the exact same, which he probably hated.
Captain Pugwash?
That's along those lines, yeah.
Enough about pirates. What were the reasons offered that Kevin might run away?
Well, Al is certain it's to do with sex.
Of course he is.
He thinks everything's to do with sex. Sam's not as certain.
No, he says when he was 15, his troubles were due to him being smart and shy. But Al rightly points out that Kevin is not like that, which frustrates Sam, who hasn't got the time to follow him around all day. Now, of course he's got the time. He's here to stop a boy being abducted, probably raped and murdered. You can just ignore the Girl Scout stuff and the uniform fitting.
Yeah, you could. Well, he does.
Yeah.
As we see later. and everyone forgets about it.
You have. He's like, look, I've got to be... No, you don't have to be there.
No.
That's not why you're here.
Exactly. He persuades Al to tag around with Kevin for the rest of the day.
Do a bit of bird dogging. Didn't mention that in the show. I just called
That's
it that.
what you assume they're doing.
Yeah.
Raffaella shows up at this.
No. But for some reason, Al doesn't want to. He's got the same sort of attitude as Sam here. Sam's like, oh, I can't be doing this. And Al's, I don't want to follow him about all day. Why? That's like, what else have you got to do, Al?
What do you think Al's doing when he's not with Sam?
Perving.
Somewhere else.
Yeah. But
in his own life.
Yeah, yes. But
he's probably got lunch coming up or something.
That's my point. Sam should be like, what do you mean you're not willing to do this? Yes, do it.
I only work 9 to 5.
Your cutbacks.
Yeah. We've not got any energy in the evenings.
Because she's only giving me 3 hours a day.
As they're discussing this, Raffaella shows up and hears Sam saying goodbye to Al, which she gets confused about.
Yeah, she thinks someone's going to be joining them for dinner. And we head over to the school. Al has conceded to Sam's idea, and we find him listening to Kevin and his adolescent pals as they sit outside, eating lunch, while commenting on the attributes of the girls at the school.
Kevin describes the first ones as jailbait. But he's 15.
Yeah, so no matter what you do, it's going to be, well...
Unless he finds an older girl.
Yeah, but they're not jailbait then. Jailbait means you'll go to jail.
Yeah, so the ones they were looking at must have been like 13 or 14.
Yeah, probably, yeah. However, they then focus on one named Jackie Arnott.
They do.
And Al is dismayed at the lack of sophistication as Kevin and his friends encourage him to make a move by chanting her name.
Yeah, surely she would hear this.
Yeah.
Also, they tell him that the whole track team's had to go on her.
That's just a high school cliched rumour, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's always somebody that's like, Debbie's done
But
Dallas.
if that is the rumour, then it doesn't make sense. The final scene doesn't make sense.
No.
So maybe they're just making it up right now.
I think they are making it up.
Yeah.
Or they're just, I don't know.
Maybe that's not her general reputation. They're just winding Kevin up because they know he likes her.
Mm-hmm.
He tries to defend her, but then they challenge him to gain 50 points, which I think would elevate him to a new level in their group.
This didn't really... I wasn't convinced with the writing for this. They're never really shown to be these sort of Dungeons and Dragons nerds. They reference it a couple of times, but they don't look the sort. They don't...
Yeah.
You have to have a scene with them round the table wearing the gear and playing Dungeons and Dragons or something. They have to be the outcasts. They have to be the nerds. They have to have more glasses, and
Yeah, they don't act that way.
they don't act that.
One of them's the class president.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure what this whole reference to wizards and all that sort of stuff. It wasn't required.
No. It's just, it's for kudos, essentially.
Yeah.
They use this point-based system. He's to return with proof of his success with Jackie.
What's that?
Probably her underwear.
That is her underwear, yeah. Which Al sees as a fairly obvious setup.
At this point, one of the other guys goes to speak to Jackie, and the person tells Kevin that he's doing the groundwork for him.
Yeah, and at this point, a dismayed Al asks Gushy to centre him on Sam.
So back at the house,
In the kitchen, yeah.
Al's asking Sam to teach Kevin how to deal with girls. And we get the quote from the top of the show.
Yeah, he doesn't want to help Kevin seduce Jackie, as he doesn't think at 15 he should be experienced and doesn't care what Al was like when he was younger.
Al calls him the world's most sexually backwards teenager.
He does, yes, and emphasises that if he doesn't do it, Kevin will be embarrassed and a runaway. And he almost manages to convince him by claiming that he knows that Kevin actually likes her, as he defended her honour at school.
Indeed, but Sam says he's not going to teach a 15-year-old about sex, which seems about the right time to do that sort of thing.
I have a few issues with this point and this stance, which I think we can talk about a little bit later. But firstly, he talks about he's not going to encourage sexual intercourse, but that's never specifically mentioned. He doesn't have to.
He just has to get her underwear off her.
Yeah, he can just get in her house and steal it from her drawers.
Well, that's not the challenge, but I suppose so.
Yeah, but they wouldn't know.
Teresa overhears this and asks what sexual intercourse is, and Al has to explain that it's a game that adults play.
Yeah, I think she refers to it as secular undercourse.
Yes.
That was quite nice. They changed the discussion to washing up for dinner, and as Sam helps her to do so, he suggests to Al that they could teach Kevin about romance instead, which I think that's my point. He's not having to teach him how to...
Yeah, but Al correctly points out that being romantic's not going to gain him any kudos with his pals, which is what he wants.
Yeah.
Or what they assume he wants.
Yeah.
Or at least not to be embarrassed. Sam says, though, if he gets the girl, the guys will have to back off. Well, will they?
I don't know. Yeah, it's a bit... The whole sort of driving force behind this is a bit flimsy, isn't it?
He then opens the oven to find a burnt roast. Now, you would smell that hours before it got to that state.
Yeah. And so they decide, and Teresa is happy to hear that they're going to all go for pizza.
Not Al, no pizza for Al.
Nope.
We then see this van continue on its way. It's 62 miles away from
Getting
Scottsdale.
closer and closer, yeah.
Ominously.
In the car, Sam pulls up back at the house as they return from dinner with the kids, and he has to call back Susan to get her stuff as she has rushed to the house in order not to miss.
Magnum.
And indeed. And Sam seemingly knows a lot about the show as he immediately tells her it will run for another 8 years. Now, a couple of things. One, obviously it's an in-joke here because it's a Belisario production, but there's lots of shows that I'm a big fan of.
Yeah.
But if you were to say to me right now, okay, in 1995, how many more years would this show run for? I wouldn't know off the top of my head.
No, you could just be estimating.
Yeah, but also it doesn't make it. It's just him. This is one of these It's
Plus, he must know it's just finished like the year before he leaps or something, or 5 years before he leaps.
Maybe. But it's just one of these things that you put in time. Back to the Future's riddled with this type of stuff. It's one of these things you drop in just to show how,
Yeah. I mean, she's not going to remember 8 years from now that her mother said it would run for 8 years.
No, but the point is that it doesn't make any difference to her today anyway.
No.
So if you say, oh, this is going to run for another 8, yeah, but I want to watch this.
This one episode
right now. I don't care how long it runs.
But she's not allowed. She's told she has to take Teresa inside as Teresa calls Sam.
And so he has to give her his purse to take in order to distract her. She has got to be messed up.
So they've obviously missed out this fitting. They've missed out the swim meet. And Kevin's hair is exactly the same as it was at the start of the day.
Well, yeah.
And we assume these things all happened and we just didn't see it.
Maybe. But it wouldn't be very interesting, would it? It's not relevant, so maybe it has. But
and when's Girl Scouts?
Yeah, she should have been wearing a Girl Scouts uniform or a soccer uniform.
Yeah, he should have had a kit bag with his swim gear in it.
And they could have referenced it, a one-liner.
Or wet hair or something,
Yeah. Anyway, alone now with Kevin in the garage, or garage as they say stateside, Sam invites him to play ping pong, which apparently Sam hates. But he takes the opportunity to try and have a father, mother, son chat.
Nice shot, Mom.
Whenever my dad wanted to have a heart-to-heart with us, usually took place over a ping pong table.
So, what do you want to talk about?
Well, you look like you needed someone to talk to.
Nope.
Oh, come on. Kevin, I know that there's something bothering you. Too cool to talk to your mom?
It's just, guy stuff.
Yeah, well, if it has to do with girls, I might know more than you think.
I know you used to be one.
Yeah. Well, no, that's not what I meant. I mean, if you need to talk to them or find out what, things that they like to hear, like, you know where to put your hands when you dance with a girl?
This is, too weird. I can't talk to you because you're my mom.
Sam, look, you made a painting.
Oh, Teresa.
Hey, I think it's kind of punk.
Oh, no, Wookie, come back. Here. Oh, Teresa. Okay, here we go. Don't touch anything. Wookie, get off the couch.
Sam is at it again.
Yes.
He is he's dropping in his own backstory here about how his father...
Yeah, what if Kevin mentions this in a couple of weeks' time to, say to his mother, come and play ping pong? She's like, I hate ping pong.
Exactly, but for all we know, did Sam say there was his mother or his father used to play?
His father,
right? Yeah. But for all Sam knows, his father died before he was even born or when he was a kid. And that might be well known in the family.
Or hated ping pong.
Yeah, had no arms.
Yeah, well known, yeah. Anyway, we get another shot of this van on the road and then we see a school bus.
Yeah, it's quite creepy. I mean, I like the edge on this here. They're not messing about with
It's a different tone than we've had before.
It's not a cartoon character bad guy.
Yeah.
Like a bully or something. This is a child rape van.
Something along those lines anyway.
Well, what do you think they're going to do with this young boy or the kids when they get them in that van?
Possibly educate them.
Yeah.
Tell them to do their own research.
They'll be educated all right.
Show them some YouTube videos. Radicalise them.
Yeah.
Anyhow, the two kids get off this bus and the guy in the van smirks before they are rescued by their mother showing up
you
to
see a guy in the van, there's two of them.
There's two of them, yeah.
Which is even worse. Twice as bad.
Getaway driver.
In fact, if it's a synergy, they're probably worse than twice as bad when there's two of you.
They look a bit disappointed when the kids are picked up.
Yeah, because they think there's our prey. So they're not going after Kevin for whatever. Yeah. They're just looking for vulnerable kids to abduct.
Yeah. Within a bit of time passes, we see them on the road again. Before we go to what we now know is Jackie's house.
Yes, she is with the guys as we discover their plan to humiliate Kevin, which she seems reluctant to do, but they're lying to her and convince her that Kevin will be grateful for whatever they're going to ask her to. This seems... We find out later on as well what they've asked her to do, and You have to be a complete half-wit to think, oh yeah,
He'll
he'll
enjoy
definitely
that,
think this
yeah.
is funny, because there's no
Yeah. They assure her it's an initiation, but I don't know what he's being initiated into.
her pants.
But they've got a bit of leverage over her.
What's that?
If she does this, the guy who's the class president is going to take her to the Mardi Gras event at school, the prom at school, and she'll be the queen of the event. She's already told her mother that this is happening.
Oh, how can she refuse?
So she agrees, and they go off to give Kevin a call. Or is she going to give Kevin the call?
Yeah, she's going to invite him round at 8 p.m.
Back at Sam/Kevin/Susan/Teresa's home, Susan's watching Tom Selleck in Magnum.
Yeah, she's understandably taken with a prime Tom Selleck, but Kevin is less impressed and unconvincingly calls him a wuss. Yeah, he's protesting too much here, isn't he? About this massive hunk of a man, this worldwide sex symbol, and this 15-year-old virgin is giving it, oh, look at him, he's
A bit of a geek.
Yeah.
He's coming to ask his 11-year-old sister for dating advice.
It's awkward, isn't it? It's a bit uncomfortable watching.
Very much so. Susan tells Kevin that Selleck is terminally gorgeous, and the only thing that matters is that he's sensitive and understands the needs of a woman.
Yeah, it's a bit
Have you
creepy.
heard an 11-year-old speak like that?
Never. It's a little bit creepy writing.
Yeah.
What do you mean her needs? What are your needs? You want chocolate and dolls?
Ponies, yeah.
Ponies, yeah. Sure.
Kevin calls her a runt and she says it's knowledge by gender.
She's a little bit too precocious.
Exactly the right word. Kevin, at this point, does ask her for dating advice, but she says she's 11, doesn't have to deal with that crap. But she wouldn't be dating the school joke, which causes him to turn the telly off and her to storm away.
Yeah, she really sticks a knife in there, doesn't she?
Yeah. So she's going next door to her pal Anita's to watch television.
I don't know why. Did they break the TV? He only turned it off.
Yeah, she doesn't want to deal with him anymore. She's
Him
only
it's
going
having-
next door.
Yeah, but it's him that's having to deal with her.
Yeah, but she's wanting to sit and watch the TV in peace. He's harassing her, so she's leaving.
Kevin himself grabs his jacket, but is called back by Sam, who's holding a newly bathed Teresa.
So he's washed the baby.
He has, yeah.
So he's quite happy to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. He didn't find that awkward or a bit weird.
He should do.
You would think, watching somebody else's kid
Yes.
without being asked.
As long as it's not the guys in the van.
Anyhow, Sam tells Kevin he doesn't want him to go out, but he says, or lies, and says that he's arranged to go back and see Raiders of the Lost Ark again. I looked into this. It would have been on, it had come into the cinema earlier that year, and it ran for almost a year
Sure.
in the cinema.
Deciding to drop the trivia in.
Just drip feed it here.
Yeah, good.
Because no one will care by the time we get to the end.
No. Sam tries to forbid him, but he points out that even Susan is out at Anita's, which he has to explain the location of.
Yeah, next door. Teresa again starts going about Sam being Sam, and Kevin suggests she take her to a baby shrink.
In the future, certainly she probably will have to avail herself
She'll
of
be
some
sectioned.
counselling, yeah.
But-
Because she'll insist, she will insist this happened.
Yeah.
'Cause it did happen.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
She insists at this point that she's not a baby before Kevin goes to leave anyway, but Sam puts his foot down,
Resulting in Kevin storming off to his room in a huff and, of course,
sneaking out his window,
sneaks out his window and escaping on his bicycle.
followed by the guys in the van, apparently.
They've been hanging about the street looking for kids
Yeah,
on their own.
bit odd. It reminded me a bit of Home Alone. Actually, the guys sitting in their van outside the house.
The wet bandits.
Yeah. Anyhow, Teresa is going to bed, and Al sings her Inchworm.
Was that what you said?
That's the name of the song, yeah. Sam goes to turn off Kevin's music that's blaring as Teresa falls asleep to Al's dulcet tones.
Yeah, and I quite like the fact that he admitted that there's this sort of newfound paternal feeling that he has.
It was nice seeing Sam and Teresa together.
He's very sort of tender with her.
Yeah. Sam, though, comes back in a bit of a panic, saying that Kevin has gone.
Yeah, he blames himself, but Al tells him that it is his buddy's influence, and then checks with Ziggy for Jackie's address and tells Sam to go. And even though he is a hologram, he will look after Teresa.
Well, they're going to get
Raffaella.
to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, Kevin is now at Jackie's house, and they're sitting on the sofa having a chat. He's kind of awkward here.
Yeah, it's a bit uncomfortable. He tries to be pleasant and nice and complimentary, but she shocks him by saying he doesn't have to do this, and they can just get right down to it, as they have the place to themselves until 11 p.m.
He's a bit suspicious, I think. He backs off, asking, does she even like him? Does she know him well enough to like him?
Yeah, I'm not sure I would say suspicious. I think he's a bit embarrassed and maybe it's going a little bit too fast for him.
Yeah, he's not prepared for this.
Yeah, because she's rubbing up against him and goes in for a kiss until he pulls away. He admits that if she likes him or not is something that's important to him.
Yeah. She asks whether it matters and tells him to take his clothes off while she goes to change the tape. He undoes just the one button on his shirt before she comes back and lies on a rug on the floor.
Again, that's just another cliche, isn't it? There's some seductive music on, and again tells him to strip and join her.
So he does take off his shirt and they do kiss, but he gets a bit nervous and says he doesn't know what to do.
And when she asks him, he admits to being a virgin. And at this point, what happens?
His so-called pals jump out of the cupboard and laugh at him along with Jackie, which causes him to run out, grab his shirt and run out and get on his bike and head off.
They call him Microman.
Do they?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was a reference to anything in particular.
Who knows?
Oh, was Microman not a cartoon?
Couldn't tell you.
The cruel Jackie joins in the laughing until she sees Kevin's reaction and him running out of the house.
Yeah, at this point she seems a bit less amused. But we see Kevin cycling past that murder van and it decides to go after him.
So has that been following him then?
Well, it was waiting outside because it knew he would be embarrassed and come running out, obviously.
Like, if you're desperate to abduct a kid, you follow one who gets into a house, but for all you know, that's where he lives.
Well, he's left his bike lying in the street, so they maybe assume he'll come back out to his bike.
But if it was your own house, you would leave it lying there.
Maybe.
I'd be, if I was after that sort of prey,
You haven't thought this through, yeah?
No, I'd be thinking, right, it's not a good use. Not a good use of my time here. We'll drive. I would drive around.
I think you've thought about it far too much, and we should probably move on before people start to get suspicious.
We return to Jackie, who is now having a go at the unrepentant arseholes for what they put her up to.
I can't believe you made me do that.
Hey, what's your problem, huh?
That was really cruel.
It was great.
Didn't you see how freaked out he was?
Oh, do I detect the pangs of remorse?
You said he'd think it was funny.
So he doesn't have a sense of humor.
He will after we tell the whole school.
No!
Hey, I think she likes him.
Well, he's got a lot more going for him than you losers.
Hey, get your nose out of the clouds and get real. You're just as guilty as the rest of us.
Guilty of what? Guilty of what?
It was supposed to be a joke, Mrs. Bruckner.
Where's Kevin?
I don't know, he rode off on his bike.
He sure did.
Kevin's not here.
Rode off on his bike.
Yes, ma'am.
Where would he go?
He probably went straight home.
When Kevin disappeared, his bike was found abandoned on Bell Road. Where's Bell Road?
2 blocks to the right. Mrs. Bruckner, I'm sorry.
Tell Kevin.
Man, with a mother like that, I'd still be a virgin too.
You are still a virgin, pimple puss. And you're going to be a virgin for another 6 years.
I tell you.
Unfortunately, Al's information is not spread further.
No, it should be.
Al's got a new sparkling effect. I assume this is an operating system update in the imaging chamber.
Okay.
He kind of sparkles as he goes and again later when he reappears.
We're out in the desert. The van is now on the highway.
Dimly lit street, I've written. Kevin's already tied up in the back.
Yeah, bound and gagged. Must be. That's the type of thing you used to have, nightmares you'd have as a kid.
Being bound and gagged by 2 men in a van.
Pretty much, yeah. It's like, probably the one. I was never scared of ghosts or monsters, I was more realistic.
Yeah.
Those ghosts and monsters probably won't get me, but the chances of me ending up in the back of a creep van.
It doesn't happen around here very much.
Well, it did a bit.
Maybe in Hamilton. Al and Sam are pursuing in the car and they see Kevin's bike at the side of the road as Ziggy finally gets a lock on his current position. It's
3 kilometres in front of them. And even though Al is frustrated at the lack of speed, they quickly catch up to it.
In seconds?
Yeah.
It's remarkable.
And agrees with Sam's request to centre in on Kevin to be with him, even though he won't know he's there.
Yeah, but Sam will know he's there.
Yeah, I think that was nice.
In the van, Al Sparkly again appears in a blaze of stars. And one of the men at this point moves back from the front of the van and Al promises that he will find a way to kill him if he puts a hand on Kevin.
I like that shot. He prowls in like a tiger approaching his prey. It was very sinister.
At this point, Sam approaches the van like a soccer mom, blaring his horn. It's like, here to stop the school bus. Stop, he's forgotten his lunch.
Yeah.
Stop.
We then have an action sequence as Sam dodges a truck while pulling alongside before ramming them off the road.
Yeah, but they're not too intimidated when they see who's driving the car.
No, in his mirror, the driver smirks as he sees Sam getting out of the car in his dress. He approaches, and Al tells him to take care of the sickos, but at this he is grabbed.
Yes, from behind, because there's a second guy that Al forgot to tell him about.
Yeah, a passenger. And when the driver rips open his shirt, he attacks and knocks them both out, or knocks them both to the ground, which surprises himself, but Al confirms that he knows this sort of stuff.
He knows lots of different martial arts. It's an interesting skill set that he should maybe have used in previous episodes. Anyhow, Sam now frees Kevin, who promises he wasn't running away. Why would that be the thing that you would think she...
No. Before that, there's another action scene because one of the guys gets up and he's got
his knife.
He's got a Rambo knife, but Sam Chuck Norrises him with a few.
The kick, it doesn't make contact. You can quite clearly see.
Yeah, it's a nice roundhouse.
Yeah. Yes, and then, like I say, frees Kevin, who for some reason promises he wasn't running away. Why would he think his mother thought he was running away? He's been in the van for 10 minutes.
Yeah, and also, as far as he's away...
And she's pursued it.
Yeah, but his mother doesn't... He wasn't running away, and his mother wouldn't have... No, because he escaped from his bedroom.
Okay. Earlier on.
Yeah.
Okay. He asks, seeing the two guys unconscious on the ground, how his mother's dealt with this, and she says, or Sam says, Girl Scouts, which impresses Kevin, I think.
There was something obvious missing here.
What was that?
I thought it would cut to another scene. Or
the police or something? Yeah.
He just leaves these two potential child rapists.
Well, there's more to that. We'll come back to this. We can put a pin in that one.
Okay.
So the next morning in the house, Susan's heading off to school, but she stops to tell Kevin she's glad he wasn't murdered.
Yeah, and also apologises for her behaviour and gives him a nice kiss on the cheek. And when she leaves, Sam sits to have a conversation about the previous evening.
I don't know exactly what happened at Jackie's last night, but, well, I got a pretty good idea.
Oh, boy.
I know it had something to do with sex.
Mom.
It's not a dirty word, Kevin.
The guys found out I'm a virgin. They're gonna blab it all over school.
That's a tough one.
Bet it is. I'm nearly 16.
I was a virgin when I was 16.
You're a girl. You're supposed to be.
Kevin, you know, it doesn't matter if you're male or female when it comes to losing your virginity. And there's no special age when it has to happen. But there should be a special reason. When you love someone so much that making love with them is the most natural way of expressing it.
Never thought about it that way.
Yeah. Well, before that time comes, there's some other things we should talk about. Okay? Okay? I mean, you're 15, and you should just give yourself a little time.
Okay. Okay. I gotta go.
Yeah. Oh, here, leave that. I'll get it.
What do you think of Sam's advice there?
Terrible.
It is shocking advice.
Very conservative.
Very conservative, but not uncommon, especially back then. But I am certainly of the view now that they're thinking about it entirely the wrong way. When kids are kids, when I say kids, teenagers, you shouldn't be waiting until you're in love. What is this, the 1920s? You don't get yourself into these relationships where you love someone that's the only person for you. This is how people get involved in unhappy marriages and stuff. Have some fun. Learn to do what you're doing physically, right? But do a bit of practice.
Don't get anybody pregnant.
Don't get anyone pregnant.
Make sure you've got consent, but then have fun.
Do it. Have fun. Make both parties are just having fun. There's no long term. Get a bit of practice here, so that when you find the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with, you've got that out of your system. You're good at what you're good at.
Yeah.
And then you can settle down. But it's just so old fashioned garbage. Wait until you find somebody. No, don't do it. No. Exact opposite. Go and do it with anyone. Be safe.
Whoever will have you.
Whoever will have you, be safe, be clean, make sure everyone's consenting, and just fucking fill your boots.
Or hers.
If you could fill a boot, you'd be very...
Anyway, Kevin gives Sam a big hug at this point and then leaves, and Al shows up saying Sam dealt with that nicely, though I don't think he believes what he's saying.
Well, I think he's saying nicely, I'm not sure.
I suppose he dealt with Kevin nicely, that the situation is...
He didn't embarrass him, yeah.
Sam asks why he hasn't leaped, and Al says it's because he's having too much fun with Teresa, but he expects that once Kevin's confronted his friends, that'll happen. So we go to the school, where Kevin comes in and Jackie approaches him to apologise. He's not too keen on this apology.
Yeah, as he walks in, his so-called pals note that his life is about to end, death by virginity.
Yeah. So they don't give two hoots that he's just been kidnapped and nearly murdered.
No, I mean...
Just what kind of friends don't care about that?
Well, do we know that they know about it?
Why would they not know about that?
You would probably tell someone,
You would think someone would mention it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it should be all over the police, because there should be a warning out there.
Yeah, for these guys, if they weren't arrested, or if they were arrested, it'll be all over the news.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jackie asks him to be her date for Mardi Gras, and he agrees if she promises not to wear heels. We see that they're about the same height in this. And as you say, the guys try to embarrass him, but Jackie gives him a proper kiss and the other kids and start chanting his name, which is a bit weird.
That wouldn't happen.
No, and that would be doubly embarrassing.
Can you imagine in your school that some girl kisses a guy and you start cheering like a... No
It's
chance.
not a sports game.
And also the message here, what the guys do is they call him a virgin.
Yeah.
And she stands up as if to dismiss this, to prove that wrong, gives him a massive kiss like, oh, you're a stud.
Yeah.
So the message here is that he couldn't just be accepted for who he is.
Yeah, he has to pretend to be somebody else.
He has to pretend to be this Lothario.
Yeah, because then these guys start saying, oh, he's a wizard now.
Yeah.
You're a wizard now.
It's the wrong sort of message, isn't it?
Stupid. The whole thing is a bit stupid with these guys.
Yeah, although it does tick all the sort of boxes of the high school capers from the 80s.
Yeah, I suppose.
Those romantic.
Breakfast Club type stuff.
All that, yeah. You've seen The Breakfast Club. That
yeah, a consent issue.
Yeah, but also the message, if you remember the one, what you call her, the goth girl, and she couldn't be accepted for what she was. She only became accepted when Molly Ringwald, Ali Sheedy played her, when she changed her.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, so like I say, Al now back at the house is teaching Teresa about dinosaurs, but Sam realises he's about to leap, don't know how.
Well, he gets a pre-leap sensation, obviously.
Sort of
a tingle.
Spider tingle. Okay. So Al tells Teresa that her mom's coming back and she's upset that Al's leaving.
Yeah, it's a very heartfelt and tender goodbye again. I mentioned that before.
Child's life's being ruined right here.
Yeah.
Al promises he'll come back one day. We'll see if that actually happens. And Sam leaps, and he's now in still a high school environment. He's now in a high school football game as a quarterback, and the ball snapped to him, and the opponents start running in his direction. And then we get Blondie for some reason playing over the credits.
It was at the start as well.
Yeah, why?
Because it would have been a song of the
at the time, but they don't use it during the episode.
Rights issue, I imagine.
Just have it for the credits. Is that cheaper?
Yeah, I'd imagine. Your rights will be assigned depending on how much you use it.
Yeah. Well, that's the end.
It had a lot of weaknesses, but I liked the feel of it. I liked the vibe. I liked the setting. I liked the time. I liked the creepiness. I liked the sinisterness of this. It's an edgier episode with more risk. I mean, yeah.
No, it's good. It's good. There's good bits.
But they're rather obvious. Like, how are we going to deal with Teresa moving forward?
Sam bringing his own history into it and stuff like that, yeah.
The pals didn't seem particularly well written. The whole that, yeah.
So they weren't particularly pally.
No. Yeah, so two things there. I'd like to have seen what happened to the bad guys. And I'm not talking about the rapists.
The real bad guys.
The real bad guys, the kids, yeah. We didn't see...
Well, yeah, they accepted him into the group. He got promoted and they had to deal with it.
Yeah, but so he should be blowing them off.
Yeah, but he's now got status in the group, so he's going to...
Again, terrible message. The message should be...
The messer, we see, becomes the messer.
No, you're scum and I'm not hanging about you anymore.
That's what you should be saying, but unfortunately at high school you don't always have that many options.
And there was obviously the unresolved issue of the men bad guys.
Yeah, that should have been... Let's just assume that they escaped into rape again.
Yeah. We should put a pin in it earlier on if you get more information.
On what part?
What happened to them?
Yeah, the thing I was coming back to was the fact that friends didn't mention it or care.
Yeah, okay.
we've covered most of my notes for the end of the episode. So we talked about Troyan Belisario not being one of the girls from last week. We talked about these guys not really being friendly. Do you think Al will keep his promise to Teresa to come back?
I think he intended to, yes. Whether or not we'll see it in another episode.
It made me think a lot of, I don't know if you'll have watched it, the end of Monsters, Inc.
Nope.
So the monsters get assigned to a kid, and one of the monsters gets told he can't do it. He's scaring anymore, but he manages to go back one last time to see the girl. Any other thoughts before we go into trivia?
Nah.
Okay. This originally aired on the 10th of January 1990, directed by Joseph L. Scanlon. He's quite interesting. This was his only Quantum Leap, but he also directed shows like Knots Landing, Star Trek The Next Generation, The Littlest Hobo, and La Femme Nikita. Nominated for a Gemini Award for his work on The Outer Limits, and he died in 2020 when he was 91. Deborah Pratt wrote it. Back to Colour of Truth. Hear more about her. Michael Stoyanov played Kevin. This is his only Quantum Leap, but obviously he was a regular in Blossom, over 100 episodes of that. His screen career began in T.J. Hooker, and he's also been in shows and movies like Monk, Billions, and The Dark Knight. He's now 55, still active.
Did you watch Blossom?
I feel like I possibly did a little bit, but I don't really remember it.
Sure.
Olivia Burnett played Susan, first of 2 characters that she plays on this show. She's also appeared in films and series including Planes, Trains and Automobiles, Dexter, and Sons of Anarchy. She's now 45, and her most recent screen role was in 2014. Troyan Belisario played Teresa. She had a small role in last week's episode as well, like we said. Probably best known today for her role in Pretty Little Liars, and she's going to be 37 towards the end of this month. She's still performing. Stick, who was one of the guys in the van, I don't know if we heard his name during the episode, was played by Terence Evans. This is his only Quantum Leap, but he's appeared in series like Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Voyager, and ER, as well as movies like Terminator 2 and probably one that's fairly easy to guess, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He had a face for that.
He did, yeah.
He died in 2015 when he was 81. It is suggested that this is the first episode to have scenes with neither Sam or Al where we gain information that they wouldn't know about, so like the kids at Jackie's house. Is that true? Has that not happened before?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. We'll need to think about that.
Yeah. So that gave us knowledge that Sam and Al didn't have, perhaps for the first time.
Yeah, but we know that through Ziggy, Al can pull up all sorts of information.
Yeah, but he didn't know what the plan for Kevin was, and Kevin didn't know, and nobody knew until... But we
Sure.
knew. Yeah, anyway. Apparently this is the first episode with a human other than Sam able to see Al when he's a hologram. And then in that introduction, there's a lab building. It's also used in Buck Rogers in the 25th Century and the original Battlestar Galactica, and originally it was part of the Britain Pavilion at the Montreal Expo in 1967. And in terms of things that we learned, Sam has got multiple martial arts skills, and children can see Al.
And leaps can be delayed.
Or at least felt, or not sure about delayed.
Okay.
Next time, we've got All Americans, where Sam has to prevent a high school football player from ruining his future. So we will see you in 1962.
Until then,
cheerio.
Wow.